I've been having issues with this wanting to play, so I'm really glad this is playing. By the way, we have new background ambiance. We are now Coconut Mall. Ignore that my vanity is messy. You pay attention to it. You're a hater, and I hate you. Just kidding. Episode 2. We're already getting messy. And you know what? Am I shocked? No. Should I be? No. Not at all. It's episode 2 of Only Friends, girl. Come on. This one is called Act 2 Character Background. Oh my god. God, dude. I feel like the way I can go about this episode is I don't have to go in order. I can go based on like couple until we all meet up again at the end. I'll do that. Make it easier. We'll go with our most content to like the least. Most content, obviously, Jack and Dean, they're still the main like focus of the show. We're not shocked. So the episode begins with a war flashback of Jack and Dean from 2 years ago, where we discover how Jack's idea for Romeo and Romeo came to be. And the way that it came to be, we also have a special guest this time. Yeah. The way that it came to be was that Jack was reading Romeo and Juliet for who knows how many times at this point, because Dean was kind of on him about it. He was like, yo dude, I don't know why you're rereading this. It's always they die at the end every single time. The ending won't change. You keep reading it. Come on. And then he asked Dean about it, and he was like, well, you know, if this was us and like you were Juliet, because obviously he was like, what would you do? And Dean was like, oh, you know, I'd fight for us. I was like, yeah, I'd fight, girl. And then he asked Jack, he was like, what about you? Would you fight? Jack responded, he said, I guess so. Oh my god, you hate me. That's insane. What do you mean you guess? Girl. Whatever. And then he talked about the fact that he wants to make a new rendition of Romeo and Juliet to where it was based around two dudes, and the issue isn't necessarily that like their families don't want them to be together because their families are beefing like in the original Romeo and Juliet. It's just because of their beliefs in that they don't like the thought of two men being together, you know? And that's what he decided. And then he had decided that he called Romeo and Romeo, and Dean told him, he was like, well, if you're gonna do like something that grand and that great, like this big of a project, I want to be in it. I want to be your Juliet because I'm your favorite actor. He was like, I'm not only your boyfriend, I'm also your favorite actor. And Jack was like, yeah, you'll be the main actor and I'll be the director. And that was our war flashback. So essentially, I know we're not too shocked. Romeo and Romeo is basically based on Jack and Dean if we're so for real in the club. It was basically for them. Whatever. And so then we flash forward. They decided to start the episode up from the day after. The like morning after them getting together at the end of the last episode, which ball, whatever. And Jack gets up. He's smoking a cigarette. Serve. Dean gets up too. He puts his arms around him and he was like, oh, like, you should stay, like, let's cuddle a little bit longer. And Jack's like, no, no, I need to go. And he takes Dean's arms off of him. He's like, I need to leave. I need to decide, like, I need to go to the casting thing to decide who's going to be Romeo. And he looked at him and he was like, I thought you already had your Romeo. I thought you already knew who it was going to be. And he was like, not you. He was like, I mean the other Romeo in the play, the one who is supposed to, like, be the other guy. And he was like, oh, whatever. So he leaves, he goes to that. He ends up, we only see one person audition, by the way, which was Arnold. So whatever. Naturally, he got it. We're not shocked. Seems like no one else auditioned. Dean did get his role. And I will also say, I almost forgot to say this. Oh my goodness. Hater. I didn't write everything down this time. I'm doing this off memory, so this won't be the best. Before Jack left in the morning, Dean took a picture of shirtless Jack in the bed, and Jack was like, yo, dude, you can't post that. And he was like, I won't, but you should unblock me to be sure I don't post it. You know, to, like, keep tabs. Which, okay. Okay, girl. Goodness. And then at times they do, like, this interview type style, which you saw in the trailer. They'll do the interview type thing. And it shows interview Dean, and he chimes in, he says, I'm not gonna post it. I'm literally just messing with him. Yeah, girl, whatever. And so yeah, he gets casted, and after he gets casted, he's given mean looks to Raffi, obviously, because in his mind, he's like, I just won. You know, between another battle between me and Raffi for Jack, and I just won. So what about it? What about it, girl? Ah! Yeah, and so the next interaction that they have past that is, I think, yes, okay. Sorry, there was 2 interactions I was thinking of, and I kind of wanted to try to go in order as best as I can. I don't really think the order matters if I'm so real in the club. It really doesn't. So, one interaction we end up having is they go to this, like, theater showing of La La Land. Apparently, they're big fans of La La Land. Jack shows up first, and then when he's about to, like, buy his ticket, Dean shows up and he's like, we want 2 tickets, and Dean pays for both of them, so whatever. And Jack makes a comment about it, and he was like, why are you here? And he was like, well, you know, it's your favorite movie. This is our movie, so I guess this was a shared movie in their relationship. Love that for them. Love that they both went. And then they start arguing. Because Dean makes a comment about how it was really obvious that he was going to be Romeo because of the situation him and Jack had last episode. And Jack chimes in, he says, girl, no. I picked you because you're talented and you can do the role. Us hooking up means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. There was no feelings involved. Who cares? It meant nothing to me, you know? And then he talks about the fact that, like, I think in this he mentions that, like, he's also trying to get, like, Raffi back in the play. Like, he's upset that Raffi can't be in it. And Dean was like, dude, this is so like you to consistently cast people that you like and that you're interested in. And he... This is bad. Jack makes a comment and he says, if the casting of Dean's character was left up to him choosing who he liked and was interested in, like how Dean's implying, then there would be a bunch of Romeos. There'd be so many. It wouldn't just be him. Girl, what are we doing? What are we doing? I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. And then this guy bumps into Jack and he's like, oh my god, like I haven't seen it so long, blah blah blah. And Dean's like, and then the Jack, they like introduce themselves, whatever. And then Jack's like, see you in the movie, girl. And the guy ends up walking away to the like concession stand table, and Dean gives a look and he said, who was that? Who's that? And he looks at him and he says, that's another one of my Romeos. Dude, why? Why? Listen. I get like ripping on Dean, you know, like reminding him like, hey girl, you're not all this. But do we need to provoke him? He's evil. Let's not. I don't know, whatever. And so Jack goes into the movie. Dean goes over to that dude at the concession stand. He's talking to him, you know, nice, like he's not saying anything bad. They're having a cute casual conversation. Dean gets a drink, and then I was confused. I was like, no way, this is all the interaction's gonna be. And then Dean proceeds to spill his drink all over that guy's white shirt. So now that guy has to go home and can't watch the movie with Jack anymore. Girl, what are we doing? And so naturally he goes up and he sits next to Jack at the movie theater. Jack was like, dude, what the heck? Like, leave. Like, this seat's taken. That guy's gonna show up and he's gonna sit with me. And he looked at him and he said, no, he's not. Like, I saw him leave. I think he had an emergency. Like, he left. That's crazy. He was like, so I'm gonna stay here. And he was like, you know, you gotta watch your favorite movie with your favorite ex. Girl. Oh my god. What are we doing? And then it shows interview Dean, and he makes a comment about how like he doesn't want to be with he makes a comment about how he doesn't want to be with Jack right now, but no one else can be with him either. Girl, that's not how that works. Because you guys aren't together. So he can like freely get with other people, but whatever. Okay, we move on. We're now in the theater. Yeah, we're now in the theater at the school. And Jack's just standing there. Dean comes up to him and he's complaining. He's complaining about the fact that Raffi's in the play. I'll get to that. Don't you worry, girl. He complains about the fact that Raffi's in the play. And he's like, why would you put him in the play? Why would you do that? And he was like, we were fine without him in the play. Like, he didn't have to be in there. Like, it was fine. And then Jack makes a comment. He's like, okay, dude, but I wanted him in the play. You need to be able to separate personal matters from the show. giving him straight attitude. And then his sound guy comes up and he was like, hey girl, so I'm dropping out because I'm in a band and my band's taking off and I need to go do that instead. So I think that guy low-key just dropped out of college. I think that's what just happened. That was insane. So he left. Later. And like, Jack's complaining because he's like, oh my god, what am I supposed to do now? Like, the sound guy just quit. Oh my god, oh my god. And Dean has the same thought process I did. He looks at him and he says, what about Rome? What about your DJ brother? What about your DJ brother? And Jack looks at him and he says, he's not my brother, and I don't want to ask him. He's just going to cause trouble. And I said, oh, what's the drama? Dean makes a comment and he's like, I get that you don't want to ask him because he's the son of your mom's new boyfriend. Oh. But you gotta separate personal matters from the show, remember? Got him. And so, yeah, so Jack ends up, I'll include this in this part. Jack ends up going home to his mom's place, where apparently they all live there except for Jack. Jack lives on his own. He goes to his mom's place. He goes and asks Rome if he wants to be the sound guy, and he says yeah. And when he asks, because Rome was like, you've never heard any of my music, like, why are you asking me? And Jack makes a comment. He was like, well, you know, Dean recommended you, and I checked out your stuff, and it'll work. It'll fit my play. And so naturally, Rome asks, he was like, are you guys back together? And Jack says, no. Jack says, we're not back together. What's wrong with you? Why would we be? You know? So we move on from that, whatever. And I think the next scene with them is at the end when we're all together, so we can move past them. Next we will go for Jack and Raffi, just so we can do a little catch up there. So after it got announced that Raffi was not the lead, Raffi got really upset. And Jack was like, dude, no, like, it's okay. Like, I have a supporting role that you can play as, like, one of the friends in the musical. And he was like, no, I don't want to be musical. This is just a play. What? Yo. He was like, no, I don't want to be in the play unless I'm the lead. I don't want to be in it unless you're going to make me be the lead, girl. And so he left. And then I'll just combine it with Raffi and Rome's storyline. And so he ends up swimming at the pool at the school, I guess. That's my guess of where it was. He's swimming, and who's in the lane next to him? Rome. He pops up, and he looks at him, and he was like, yeah, you know, we have to buy a new DJ, like, set thing. And Raffi looks at me and he's like, okay, and what does this have to do with me? Like, why are you telling me this? Rome reminds him, you broke mine. We have to buy a new one. You broke it. So are you gonna... And he was like, you're gonna come with me to buy the new one unless you weren't serious about taking responsibility for it. And he was like, no. He was like, I don't want to go. So what we can do is we can have a little race. Whoever wins, I win the race. I don't have to go. You win the race. I'll go. They race. Rome wins, obviously. And so he ends up going with him to go shopping for the DJ set thing. I'm not a DJ. I don't remember what it was called. Whatever. Who cares? And while they're at the store, we as an audience learn that Raffi's mom is a famous actress. the famous actress. And so people know him as her son and like not as his name, and it makes him upset, you know, because he's like, I have a name and no one calls me that, so they just know me as my mom's kid. And while he's out buying that new set, Jack texts him and is like, hey, I want to meet you at this place in the school right now. Come now. And he looks at Rome and he's like, you like this set? You like that? Because Rome was trying out one of the sets. He was like, you like that one? You like that one? Cool, that's epic. We'll buy that? I'll buy it right now. I gotta go. And so he gives a woman his card, and he looks at Rome and he said, you're in charge of getting my card. I gotta go now. And rushes out, leaves. Shows up, he meets Jack. Jack essentially, low key, begs Miss Girl a little bit to be in the play. Yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this mess. Loki begs him to be in the play, and he was like, I rewrote it, like, I made a part just for you. Do it. Raffi says yes. Why wouldn't Raffi say yes, you know? But it's also like, Jack, why are we signing Raffi up for this? You know that Dean is a monster? Dean is so evil? This isn't gonna go well for Raffi. What's wrong with you? Are you kidding me? Whatever. We'll move past it. And the next moment we get from them is at that party at the end. So, next couple. Because I feel like all the party stuff's interlinked. That's why I'm doing it like this. Our next couple is Arnold and Tua. So, Arnold, he's doing his audition, and it's not good. It's not good. It's crazy how not good it is. And Jack looks at him and he's like, have you ever hit on anyone before? And Arnold's like, no, I never have. People usually, they come up to me and they hit on me. Like, I don't gotta put in the work like that. Girl, look at me. And so Jack is like, okay, let's try something different. Let's try doing like improv type ordeal where you just like improvise to me you hitting on somebody. And so obviously he has to give him like another person to do it with. So at first he looks at Timmy and he says, Timmy, go up there, you're gonna do it. And Timmy was like, no, I'm not an actor, I'm not doing this mess. Yeah, not me, man. So they sent Tua up there because Tua's at the audition in support of Arnold. And they go up there and low key, girl, what are we doing right now? Because his improv of him confessing his like interest in Tua, his improv, he made a comment. He was like, do you know like how many times I've given you a ride on the back of my bike? And Tua was like, no, who would count that? Like, that's low-key absurd. And he looks at it, he says 42 times. What? What? And he was like, you counted? He was like, yeah, I counted. And then makes a comment and he was like, and on top of it, you're the only person I give rides to. Like, if you pay attention, I've never given anyone else a ride on my bike, only you. And then he confesses his interest in Tua. And then Jack says, cut, and like, the improv's over. The quote-unquote improv is over. Crazy work. Don't ever. And it hits Arnold's point in the interview or whatever, and he was like, yeah, no, he was like, no, I wasn't blushing up there or anything like that. Like, I don't care. Like, all I care about is get my role in the play. Like, that's all I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about nothing else. Don't try to, dude. Like, I'm good. And then, I think you'll love this, by the way. They're having a meal together. Well, obviously when it gets announced that like Arnold's gonna be the Romeo in the play, like they hug and whatever. But then they end up having dinner together. And when they're having dinner at Tua's place, Arnold thanks him at some point because he was like, this is kind of all like your fault that this is happening, whatever. He thanks him. And then he tells Tua, no, I'm about to go out of order. Girl, that's crazy. Tua makes a comment. He's like, now that you're going to be a part of this group, like, there's one question you're just going to have to answer and tell the peoples, because Arnold's worried that, like, the people in the crew won't like him because he's never had to really talk to any of them before. I don't know. I wasn't expecting this. Arnold's nickname stems from the fact that his dad loves the Terminator, and so he's nicknamed after Arnold Schwarzenegger. That is crazy. Yeah, so they were doing a lot of Terminator bits in this show after they let us know that, and I hope we continue to do that. So yeah, when you picture him, you don't have to picture Joss at all. Just picture the Terminator. There you go. Serve. And he, oh my god, he ends up talking about how, like, he's worried because he has to apparently, like, hug and kiss Dean in the play because, it's a romance play. And Tua, he looks up and he's like, well, does your worry stem from, like, being worried about having to kiss a dude and like that whole experience? And he was like, no. He was like, I don't care about kissing a dude. He was like, it's whatever. He was like, my worry stems from the fact that I've never had like a romantic interaction with someone I'm not close to, like with like a stranger, and he ends up telling the story about his first kiss or whatever. And then he asks Tua about his first kiss, and Tua answers. He says his first kiss was last year. And I'm like, okay, girl, serve, whatever, we're late bloomer. And then he specifies that he doesn't want to get into it because his first kiss was shared with a bad person. He used a bad word, but I don't use bad words in my recaps. It was the A one. And immediately, alarm bells are going off in my brain. And I'm like, don't you dare try to tell me that Tua's first kiss was shared with the most evil man in the universe. The only person I could ever think of that would be this evil that could have kissed Tua is Boston. I'm like, I really hope that's not what they're trying to make me think and allude to right now, is that Tua's first kiss was with the most evil man in the universe, Boston himself. Whatever. Who knows, right? We don't know that. Oh my god. I just can't believe that they would even plausibly do to it like this, because why? Whatever. I'm not even upset. I'm so upset. Oh my, I love Tua. How could they do him like this? We'll move past it. I don't even care. Anymore. And okay. And then Dean shows up, and yeah, Dean joins him for the meal, whatever. And that was that. Now it is party time, girl. So the party is going to be at Tua's place. And God, what's his name? Arnold is helping him prepare for said party. And they're making the food together, and Tua ends up gifting Arnold a Terminator like phone grip for his phone, and he's like, now instead of answering, like, you could just pull this out, point at it, so that, like, people know that's what you're named after. Arnold proceeds to then do a Terminator impression, and I hated it. It wasn't that it was bad. It's just that I genuinely forget that his actor's like fluent in English and studied at an international school for like 3 years when he was younger, and so it scared me a little bit. I said, "Yo, what's happening right now?" Because I forget that some of these dudes, like, they have genuine, like, regular kind of like American accent, like they have accents that go with English when they speak in English, and like it'll throw me for a loop because I'm like, yo, who is this guy? What is this? And so he's talking about his breakdown of the party, and he was like, you know what? He was like, Timmy's usually late. I think he said Timmy was usually late. I don't know. And yeah, so he was kind of just discussing like the basics of how like the parties kind of usually go. Oh my god. It's party time. Hey. Raffi, he's showing up at the party. Rome, he drives up, starts talking to Raffi, and Raffi's like, why are you here? Like, are you following me? Like, what is this? Rome proceeds to break the news to Raffi. Hey girl, no, I'm in the play now. I'm in the play. I'm gonna do sound. Jack asked me to come do sound, girl. I'm in it. Hey. Raffi's obviously not happy about it. Whatever. Not my business. And so we're at the party, and everyone's kind of just watching as Timmy drunkenly does karaoke. And the crazy part is, Jack and Dean aren't there. They're not there yet. Which, for Timmy to be drunk, low-key implies that this party's been going on for a little bit. For them to just not be there is crazy. And so, they show up together. And like I said, it's low-key crazy that they're not there because Dean lives there. Dean lives at Tua's house. Why wasn't he there? Why was he hanging out with Jack? And everyone also questions it. They were like, girl, thank God you guys are here. You guys are late. But also, why are we showing up together? Dean makes a comment. He's like, you know, we're back together. Like, we're put together. Everyone gets really excited. And then Jack's like, no, we're not. We're not. Dean's like, we are not together. He's crazy. And everyone's like, yeah, sure, yeah, no, we totally believe that. Whatever. So, every piece of mess that happens after this, by the way, is completely Dean's fault, and I fear that, one, obviously, like I said, Dean reminds me so much of Ray, and that is true, that is a fact. I also feel like if they didn't bring Boston back in the show, and if Dean wasn't crazily, obsessively focused on Jack, he could do Boston level type stuff, and that low-key scares me a bit, because what are we doing? Whatever. So, I'll tell you his different messes, one by one, with the realistically least upsetting ones to the most upsetting ones, in my personal opinion. So, 1, the mess he creates between Rome and Raffi. So he looks outside and notices that Jack and Raffi are talking outside, and obviously he doesn't like it. And so he notices that Rome is watching this interaction, and he goes up to Rome and he was like, so, you know, the more I notice you like watching Raffi and paying attention to all that he's doing, like, I can't believe that you guys are just friends. Like, it's not giving friends. And he makes a comment. He was like, no, yeah, like, he's cute. Like, I'm low-key interested. To which he responds and he's like, you know what? He was like, I will set and serve him to you, and it's up to you whether or not you're gonna take it. And I think, no, I don't even think like Rome questions like why he's doing it, because I feel like Rome knows like it's just because Jack's involved, you know. So he goes outside. He goes outside to where they're talking. He starts talking to Jack, and he was like, oh, like, I bought the poster that you were talking about that you wanted. You should come with me to come get it. Come on. And he was like, no, what if you go get it yourself and show it to me? And then he makes a comment about how he makes some sort of comment about how like, oh, are you saying that you don't want to come with me because you're worried that what's gonna happen last night in your room is gonna happen again, you know, implying without actively saying that they hooked up. And naturally Jack gets upset. He's like, what's wrong with you? Why would you say that? And Dean looks at Raffi and he says, oh my god, like, it's just an inside joke. Like, it doesn't, like, you wouldn't get it. Like, it's whatever. And Raffi's like, no, it's fine. And Jack and Dean end up walking away together because at this point, Jack's upset. Jack's like, girl, what was that? What was that? And so Raffi, he's upset. He's like actively leaving the party. Rome swoops in and he makes a comment. He was like, you know, I get that like you think Jack's all that, but I think I'm top tier too. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's insane. Oh, that's insane. He says that. And then he also makes another comment. He was like, and I'm ready for you anytime. Oh, that's bananas. Oh, that's bananas. What are we doing? What are we doing? What is this? I don't know how this works. For the second time, Raffi immediately says, we hook up again? Are you going to tell Jack about it? He said, no, maybe not. So they proceed to hook up in Rome's car, which presumably is still parked at the party. Which, by the way, gives me war flashbacks to Boston and Top hooking up at the party in season 1. War flashbacks. I can't do this. Oh my god. And so we also catch up with Jack and Dean. What's going on up there? Dean gives Jack the poster. Jack's pissed. He was like, I don't understand why you said what you said in front of Raffi. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you being like this? And he tells him, he was like, you know, like, I'm fine with you moving on with anybody, but not him. I'm cool with anyone that isn't Raffi. Which, That's not true. That's not true. He had an interview moment in the show, and he made a comment that if he can't have what he wants, then no one can. And he was talking about Jack in that interview. So, I don't know, girl. I don't know. Liar. And Jack makes a comment. He's like, oh, why? Like, are you scared of losing? Like, is that all this is? Like, you just don't want to lose? And he was like, there's no way I'd ever lose to Raffi. And he was like, I know you can't lose to anybody, but I can make you lose. Oh, got him, yo, got him. Shoot him down, shoot him while he's down, dude, shoot him while he's down. And they have this weird moment with like the poster tube. I don't listen. Okay. Jack, like, Dean's making money moves on Jack. It seems like Jack's falling for it, and I was like, no way we're really gonna do this again. I was like, girl, get up, come on. And then he's like unbuttoning some of the buttons on Dean's shirt. He pushes Dean on the bed, and I was like, really? I was like, we're really gonna do this right now? And I don't understand what this was. He just kind of starts like touching him with the tube of the poster. And I was like, okay. And I was hoping the whole time he'd hit him with the poster tube. And then finally he does. Finally he hits Dean in the head with the poster tube. It was actually fire. And then he was like, see right there, like that just proves I can make you lose. And he leaves. He walks out. And I said, oh, got him. This is the most upsetting one. And I hated everything. I love Tua so much, so I hated this. Frick. Dean happens by a conversation that Tua and Arnold have, where Tua looks at Arnold and says, hey, like, if you're too drunk, like, you can spend the night. And he's like, no, like, I'm not drunk, like, it's fine, like, I never drive home drunk. I would never. Don't clock me on that. He was like, also, I get drunk, like, I'll just call Uber. I'll call an Uber, like, don't want to be in your hair like that. And he was like, yeah, no, like, it's fine, whatever. And then Arnold walks away, and Dean's talking to Tua, and he's like, trying to get him to spend the night. He was like, I see. You got your crush in the play. And Tua's like, I need you to stop talking right now. People can hear you. This is absurd. Be quiet. And Dean makes a comment. He was like, you know, the easiest way you can test if he's interested is kiss him. Kiss him. And if he kisses you back, he's interested. And Tua's like, I do not have the courage necessary to be doing all that mess. And he was like, Carl, start drinking. Build that courage. So, did I hit the button? I totally had. So he ends up drinking. Tua and Arnold are alone in the kitchen. And he makes a comment about it. He was like, we should practice your, like, kiss that you have for the play. You know, like, you kissing a man for the first time. And Arnold's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And he was like, no, like, trust. He said, you should practice kissing a man, and you should practice with me. And then Tua kisses him. And in the trailer, they definitely cut it off, so it looked a lot worse than it was. He, like, he did kiss back, whatever. But, like, not really. Like, not anything that's, like, crazy. You know, like, it was cash. Pulls away. And Tua makes a comment. He was like, how was that? Like, what'd you think? This is awful. Said, what'd you think? And Arnold looked at him and he said, I don't know. Said, I don't know. He said, I don't know if it's just because I'm drunk, but, like, I don't really, like, feel anything. Like, I don't know how I feel about this. He was like, maybe I'll know, like, when I'm sober. And he leaves the kitchen. I accidentally turned my mic off. When I dropped it, I hit the power button. That was crazy. Moment of silence for Tua, I guess. Moment of silence for Tua. That was awful. Oh my god. That was awful. That was awful to watch. It's awful to think about now. Oh my god. How could they do him like that? What is this? Oh my god. I hate everything. I hate this show. I hate this show. I hate this show. I hate this show. I hate everything. After all of this. I see. They show you a shot of someone clearly at the, like, driveway entrance of this home. Wearing a sweater vest of sorts. Lo and behold, it was the devil himself wearing a sweater vest showing up to the party to ruin my life. I thought I would have so much longer of the show without him in it. No, I was wrong. Apparently he was going to show up at the end of the second episode. Boston shows up. Boston goes inside. And I'm gonna kill myself, by the way. I'm 2 seconds away from killing myself, by the way. I cannot do another season of Boston. What? Okay, whatever. I'm not even upset about it. He goes into the party, makes eye contact with Tua. Tua looks shocked and surprised and obviously upset. Which only confirms my worst fear, which is that Tua's first kiss was shared with the devil himself. Oh my god. What? So they're showing me the different reactions of people. Jack makes a comment, calls Boston American boy. Yeah, and you know what? And he's Kanye's part in American Boy. He's Kanye's part, not Estelle's. He can have Kanye. And he's looking around, and he keeps making eye contact with Tua. And he essentially looks at Tua and says, can I join your friend group? It was essentially supposed to be him asking the whole party. And everyone's like, yeah. Everyone seems happy, except for Tua. I just can't believe he's in the show so fast, so soon. I'm going to kill myself, and it's gonna be crazy. The last thing I'm gonna leave you on is for my preview for next week. It looks like Dean and Jack are gonna get in a physical fight. They're gonna get in a physical altercation. Dawson's been there for 1 week, and there's gonna be a physical fight between ex-lovers who have a very weird relationship with being possessive and jealous over each other. I hate Boston. And I wish he had died in New York and not come back.